Well, I give thanks to God because He's the giver of life. So every day we wake up, we are still on this side of eternity, we give Him thanks. So it's another opportunity of life, and so I give Him thanks.
When you reflect back at life at 60, what are the thoughts that come to mind?
Well, number one, how time flies. Well, like I said, just want to thank Him for all that He has enabled me to well accomplish in the little time that I've spent thus far, and it's been Him, and the inspirations from Him has helped me thus far, and I trust Him that He will still give me more time, and His presence will never abide with me, and that the inspiration will keep coming to be a blessing to my generation, and even when I'm gone, whatever He allows me to do will still continue by His grace.
Looking back, how did the work of God start? How did you get into it?
Okay, well, work of God, how did I get into it? Well, I think I got into the work of God by simply asking God the question of purpose. At some point, like I read education, but at some point I became weary of the situations that I see around education practice, and so I veered into banking, but while there I still was not fulfilled, so I kept asking God, Lord, what's your purpose for my life? And so one day He spoke to me to go back to my profession, and I told Him the reasons why I didn't want to continue in teaching, and He said, okay, for all those reasons, just raise me righteous generation and start from the toddling age. So all my life I was brought up in a Christian home. Growing up, I got to know God the more. I became closer. I got to know Him by myself. I became closer to Him, and every step of the way I asked Him for directions. And so, having gotten a sense of direction now, all I know is to raise righteous generation, as He instructed me, go raise me righteous generations of children. And so I said, why not? Since I was born again and I'm born again, and as He has instructed that I go back to my profession as a teacher, so I start from toddling age. I started from early years, and then everything we were doing, and we still do, is rested on the scriptures, and we always pray. I taught the children to pray. At some point in time, I may ask them to just skip their breakfast and we will pray, and then they can now, by way of introducing them to fast. And so after that, they would go back, have their meal. That's how the Lord has helped me. But at some point again, the Lord ministered to me that He would need me in pulpit ministry. So there is the education that's my core profession. What I read, what I studied, but I did that even resting on Christ. And the school I run is a Christian school, so that is still ongoing by the grace of God. However, when the clarion call came to step into pulpit ministry, so you ask the question, how did I get into the work of God? So right from my what I studied in school, I biased it towards the call of God by reason of discovery of purpose. Raise me righteous generations of children. And so I was raising, and I've been raising children, you know, using the platform of education, but in the way of the Lord. So that's also in a way the call of God. Now, when the clarion call came to step up into pulpit ministry, okay, so that's, I don't know which one you are talking about now. Is it okay? So it flows.
Yes.
Okay, so that's been it. That's been the journey.
But I also know that even here, you also have a ministry.
Yes, Voice of Joy and Gladness Women International Ministry. That's another one.
Sorry, Voice of
Voice of Joy.
Okay.
Voice of Joy and Gladness Women International Ministry. Jeremiah 33 verse 11. Yes. So it's that's not a church. It's a support ministry. We organize workshops, trainings for the various arms of the family. Okay, my work in church, my assignment in church is the family life. So I'm the director of the family life. Okay, so well, of course, the church is made of families: the men, the women, the children, the youth, the singles, the all aspects of family. All right, so that's what I do. The support ministry that I spoke about, the Voice of Joy, is in that one came up as a result of a vision that I had, where I saw myself a couple of years ago, and I saw, you know, in a very large hall, different categories of women. Some women looking tired, dusty, rusty, calling for help. Another category, laying their hands on their tummy, asking for help. Another one looking weary and tired, asking for help. And so when I came out of that revelation, I told my husband, I said, God, he said to me, God there is a message, that God is sending to me, and I need to look into it. So, I prayed, and I also sought counsel from some of our senior ministers, who now said I should sit down, write the vision, and then begin to work on it. So that was how that was graphic. And so what I do is I do not the normal pulpit Sunday thing, but we organize workshops on how to be better women. Sometimes we also organize workshops on how to balance the career and the home. We organize workshops for youths and singles and all, sometimes men. Okay, so that's the Voice of Joy and Gladness Women. But essentially, my work here is the family life. I'm the chairman of the marriage counseling classes. That's for the couples, for intending couples. Then I have other lecturers who work with me in that regards. Still under the Family Life Directorate, we have the Men's Fellowship, we have the Women's Fellowship, like I said, all branch of family life. We have people who coordinate directly. They work with me, and then I supervise. The family is the bedrock of the society. Yes, the building block of the society, in church, even in mosques. We have families. And so if the family is dysfunctional, we have a dysfunctional state and society. So in those days, at least, the community is made up of families, but father and mothers alone don't raise their children. You have community input, but these days you dare not even send the children to school. The parents are, no, you can't, sorry, you can't, you're not allowed, free hand to really instill discipline in schools, in the lives of the children. Any attempt is, just get, it's like you're looking for trouble from parents. So everybody's like, okay, the much we can do, we do. So that alone has affected the quality of service, family life. Children unruly, they can't be disciplined, they can't be corrected. Yes, I'm aware some people are too high-handed, but then, you know, spare the rod and spoil the child. Discipline is it, no discipline. You need to discipline. For in Christian education, discipline is, we coin discipline as discipline. It's not just all about cane, it's not just about inflicting injuries on children, it's about telling them this is how things are done. Take them through the scriptures, and when they get it right, you praise them. When they get it wrong, you either you take them through the scriptures again and tell them, whoever does this, this is what the Bible has said about it. And then sometimes you can, engage the use of cane. All right. So, but this is not so. So we have parents that they themselves were not properly brought up, who are now parents. So if they were not also properly brought up and they are now parents, what would they be parenting? So the decadence is becoming more and more terrible. And so we wonder what's it going to look like in the next decade. So, well, if we now see that children are even afraid, they don't even want to get married because, they already enjoying the benefits of marriage without getting married. So men just want to impregnate 6, 4, 5 girls, and then they become baby papa. And and women want to just be baby mama. They don't want to submit to any authority. All right, so that's the situation. And some time ago, I read somebody who said, "It's my business. How you raise your children is my business." Because children that are well brought up eventually get, married to, guys that were not properly brought up. But just because they like their physique and it looks like they have some money, so they are ready to settle. By the time, a child that was properly brought up gets hooked to one that's not properly brought up, problem starts. So we need to do a lot on parenting. Number one, we need to ensure that our youth they understand the meaning of marriage, and they understand the principles that govern it, and they also know how to pray up the principle. Because understanding principles alone and not praying it up will not deliver the benefits optimally.
You pray up.
You pray because the devil does not want any home to stand. The devil does not. I believe strongly that there is a dedicated place. There is a dedicated portion in hell that the devil has mapped, or he has dedicated some of his team or members or cohorts to attack homes and marriages. Of course, when we are talking about marriage, we are talking of emotions. So where the heart is not settled, where emotions are not balanced, the productivity is affected. And then even when you think one is making it, in business, in career, if the home front is not settled, forget it. That's a partial success. And so, because times will come when one would age and one will be slowed down by age. The children that should take over, that one can send on errand, go to this, go and study up this, go and take over this project, go and execute this project. When they themselves were not properly raised up in a balanced home environment, how much of results, good results, we won't be able to accomplish. And so some parents are bleeding, they are hemorrhaging, because what they now see as their performance, their scorecard in parenting is nothing to write home about. And they are wondering what will become of their empire, business empire, when they are long gone. So, the Lord will help us.
Amen. What are your suggestions in terms of how best to go about it at
My
this point?
suggestion is that we need to number one, the youths are very angry now. There is no, they don't see any future in our nation. But our nation is blessed. Everything about this nation is blessed. Just that we need people who can settle and get their priorities right. Place value on lives. Okay, place value on lives. Let there be, as far back as when my husband graduated, there had been unemployment issue. I remember he would go from, we would enter bus from Dokpemu and then we looking at signboard anywhere he saw building, civil engineering company, he would take the address down and write a application letter, until God miraculously settled him and he got a job. Now, as far back as then, we are now grandparents. And so I want to believe that we should work on our database in our nation. Okay, sending children to school. We know how many children overseas. All these ministries they are linked. Ministry of Health linked with education, linked with population and all that. And so, if we know how many children, if we know how many children were born in 2021, so add 6 years or 8 years, what would those children be needing, and make those facilities available? Okay, in another 10, 15 years, they should be in school, they should be in high school, get facilities ready. Okay, the ones that are already in the university all over Nigeria, how many are there? Instead of just churning graduates out with no job, no preparation for them. And so some of them, look at now, UK has opened her doors to medical doctors. You saw them going in droves. So who is left to take care of the Nigerians here, just in case? The old consultants who are old, who are supposed to be retired and be resting. So we need to harness our resources and put them to judicious use. Let the youth know that let's build hope in the children and youth. Let them know there is, Nigeria is blessed. Go to any nation of the, there is nothing that is happening overseas that cannot happen here. Nothing. Here we have all resources, human resources, natural resources, everything. I think we are too blessed, and so we are just akonyoni. Okay, so there, when in winter, when by like 2-3 o'clock it's already dark, who will tell them not to have lights? But here, because from morning till 6-7, everywhere is still, there is no time of the day and no time of the year when it suddenly becomes dark by 2 o'clock. And so because of that, we don't care whether there is light or not. No, there are things we can generate, but right now, you hardly, without power generation, there's a limit to the kind of progress a nation can record. These youth, they need all of this. Hospitals, everything should just be in place. What's going on overseas that can't happen here? We have the money. Who are the best surgeons overseas? Who are the best doctors overseas? And yet we have some of our own going to clean, going to do menial jobs, going to distribute food overseas. Why would they be doing that? Is it easy? Is it cheap to nurture a child till the child graduates from the university? It's not a one-day thing. So having gone through the university, having gone through the primary, high school, university and all that, we now begin to export them. And they now begin to go brain drain. So what's the hope of this nation? So, but if we are able to judiciously harness our resources, human resources, natural resources, let madness go. How many how many cars do we want to ride per time? How many bags of rice do we want to eat per time? Why are we not thinking about the future? Why are we not thinking about how many clothes? If you put on more than one at a time, one one is classified as being mad. So what's the point? Wasting resources. So I think we need to do then aside from that, let's give the youth hope. Let's prepare for them. Let's reassure them that there is hope in our nation. At the same time, let us encourage them to upskill. Don't just go into relationships. Go through proper. I don't know if they do that, and if there is provision in mosques for people to learn about the responsibilities of marriage before they begin to go into it. It's not about sex. You think marriage is all about sex. No, it's not all about sex. It's about responsibility. So we need to let them know that they have responsibilities to their spouse, to their children, to if the society, to the nation they belong to their organization. And so they need to be trained. When they get it right there in marriage, then they can build homes that uh, well balanced children, well adjusted children will be raised. There is no day a child is not brought into the world. That's how God has been balancing the earth. If somebody dies today, some other babies come today. So the training has to be ongoing, ongoing from childhood age. I don't know if I'm
So let's talk about you and Daddy. How you bonded over the years and how have you found
the balance.
The balance.
Oh, wow. Yes, that's talking about personality. Yes, we need his own personality type is quite different from mine, and so we understand different temperament types, and we are able to there is no personality that is really bad or one that is completely good. Each personality has its strength and weakness, so we've understood that strength and areas of weakness is what we just use like jigsaw puzzle. So in my own areas of weakness, he deploys his strengths, and the areas that I think he will need my kind of temperament, I deploy. But much more, we allow the Holy Spirit to help us to control.
Okay. What kind of a person is he?
And my husband, well, he's if we are talking in terms of he's somebody who knows what he wants, and he's all out to get it right. He's all out to get it. He doesn't. He has alternatives. If it looks like this one is not working, he already has alternative. All he wants is to accomplish a set goal. That's the kind of person he is. And then he's generous, kind-hearted, wants to help everybody, wants to bring out the very best in you, and wants to make sure that you accomplish your purpose. That's the kind of person he is.
And how do you balance all of that?
Okay, so having lived with him for over 30 years, I've come to understand his kind of person. If he wants to give you something, he gives you. If he wants to give you something to go and trade with it, he wants you to come back with results. It's not story. He does not want story. He wants goals accomplished. If you're having issues, revert and tell him this and this area. What do you think? Please, can I have more suggestions or more help? Yes, he's willing to help. So, I've understood that about him. And so, the much I can do, but the ones I cannot, he knows my limits.
How old is the marriage?
Sorry?
How old is the marriage?
We were 30 last year. So, we were 31 going on 32.
Okay. So, how do you plan to celebrate your 60th? What shape is it taking?
Well, it's like I said, all thanks to God. We just want to have worship service, communion service.
When?
My birthday is 23rd of April, so we just do worship service. And that's all. And perhaps visit orphanage, give out things to people less privileged. That's all.
So, what's also the secret? Father, you're not looking into that.
Well, that must be God. It's God, it's His faithfulness, and then eating healthy. Eating healthy.
How do you do that? Your own kids.
Yeah, I am a health coach. I learned under Reverend Tony Yemi of Rafa Health Institute, and so we're taught it's not more medicine you need, it's more information. So we eat right, minimize consumption of all these monosodium glutamate, but eat fresh foods, vegetables and fruits, plenty of water, and then minimize cooked food. All right, you pay me for for consultation. It's an exercise, sir. Just healthy living, healthy lifestyle. I don't do all the sugar. I stopped drinking all these fizzy drinks. My husband does that. Once you are 40, he tells you no sugar. So we don't do fizzy drinks and all, no, just water. At best, zobo and tiger nut milk. Yes.